You know, for centuries, Catholics have had all these different titles for the Virgin Mary. But one of them has become so controversial that it's actually sparked a ton of confusion online and even some concern within the Church itself. So now, the Vatican has stepped in with an official document to set the record straight. We're going to break down exactly what it says and why this is such a big deal.
So why the need for a big clarification right now? Well, this isn't just some dusty academic debate. It's a response to a real, modern-day controversy over Mary's titles that's been causing some genuine confusion among believers, both in the pews and all over the internet.
At the very heart of this debate is one specific title, Co-redemptrix. Now, it's a term with a long history for sure, but it brings up a really critical question for the Church. Does this title actually reflect Mary's role, or does it maybe go a little too far, potentially elevating her to a status equal with Jesus Christ?
And this whole thing isn't just happening in the theology classrooms. It's really being fueled by actual concerns from priests on the ground and, of course, the often unfiltered world of social media, where misinformation can just spread like wildfire. Seeing all this growing confusion, the Vatican knew it was time to step in and provide some clear guidance.
And that guidance, it comes in the form of a major official document. So let's take a look at what this document is and, more importantly, where it comes from.
Okay, so this guidance carries some serious weight. The document is called Mater Populi Fidelis, which means Mother of the Faithful People, and it comes directly from the Vatican's top doctrinal office. It was approved in November 2025, and its purpose is crystal clear: to define Mary's cooperative role in salvation. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a significant official statement from the top.
Before the document even gets into Mary's role, it starts with the single most important principle of the Christian faith. This is the foundation, right? Everything else is built on top of this one idea.
The document is absolutely unequivocal on this point. Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone is the Redeemer. There is zero ambiguity here. This is the non-negotiable center of Catholic belief, and it's the bedrock for everything the guidance is about to say about Mary.
And to really get this, we have to be on the same page about the word Redeemer. A Redeemer is the one who brings about salvation. The Vatican's document really stresses that this role belongs uniquely and solely to Christ. Any understanding of Mary's role has to flow from that absolute truth, period.
Okay, so with that foundation firmly in place, the document then gets into the details, clarifying how to properly understand Mary's really unique participation in God's plan.
And this is where the document makes a really key distinction. The Vatican affirms that Mary's role is absolutely unique and vital. But, and this is the key, while her role is cooperative, it is always subordinate to Christ. She participates in his work, she doesn't perform a parallel work alongside him. It's a crucial difference.
And this is exactly why the document discourages titles like Co-redemptrix. It's not because the term has no historical basis. It's been used for centuries to describe her suffering with Christ. But today, it can be really misleading, maybe implying an equality with Christ that the Church just doesn't teach. So instead, the guidance points us toward language that emphasizes her unique cooperative role, or titles like Mother of Believers. The goal here is always clarity, over confusion.
All right, so we get the what. But you might be asking, why does clarifying a few titles matter so much in the grand scheme of things? Well, the document lays out some very practical, very important reasons.
See, this is about way more than just words. This guidance is meant to provide clarity for everyday Catholics, to cut down on all that modern-day confusion and to remove potential stumbling blocks in conversations with other Christians. This isn't about diminishing devotion to Mary at all. It's about making sure that all those rich traditions, from prayers to shrines, always point directly back to Jesus Christ.
So, what's the practical advice here? What's the takeaway for Catholics? It really comes down to four key things. First, see Mary as a model of faith to imitate. Second, use language that's clear and doesn't mix up her role with Christ's. Third, make sure all devotion ultimately leads to Jesus. And finally, use language that builds bridges, not walls, with other Christians.
You know, when you boil it all down, this whole document is really an exercise in focus. It's about drawing everyone back to the absolute core of their belief. At the end of the day, the document's message is both simple and profound. Love and honor Mary as a mother and a model. Trust in her prayers, but never, ever lose sight of the one central truth, that Jesus Christ is and must always be at the very heart of faith, worship, and hope.
So, this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about.
This entire document is built on the idea that being precise with our language isn't just about theology, it's about the health of belief itself. So it makes you wonder, right? In any system of belief, how does clarifying what we say and why we say it actually strengthen the very foundations of faith? Something to think about.